Well, I don't know where to start other than I'm from Miama. I was born from Miama. My mother was born in Miama in 1906, pioneer family. And my childhood in Miama was good. Didn't matter whether we had food on the table or whatever. It was good because I didn't know any better. I didn't know any different. This is the way life was back then. And then life back in early Miami was wonderful. I mean, dragging up streets, the main street, no problem. Doing whatever you wanted to do after the ball game, no problem. The big ball game in Miami was Miami High Edison, and I went to Edison. Edison went 29 years without beating Miami High. 29 years. On Thanksgiving night, every year, regardless of what, with Mama Edison playing. And we got more participation for that game than the University of Miami did. I mean, we filled the stadium. The whole city came to watch this thing. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them to win. But that's Miami, old Miami. Uh, and I learned one thing. If you want to get anything, you got to work for it. I had a cousin who owned a tugboat business and sand dredging business. Danny, you'll remember the big dredge pump that was out Cape Florida
Yes,
every day. That was me.
right. Dredging sand off the sand flats out there. Yeah.
And it was owned by my cousin, Mark Darachet. So I started working for it, but when I wasn't in school. And I learned to run the tugboats from a very good captain named Henry Deal. And we would go Miami River from 36th Street, right where Lindsley Lumber is, and they had the dam there, all the way down the river. Miami River is not what you'd call the widest river in the world. And we took up most of the river, and I learned to run a tugboat right then and there.
How old were you
When I started,
when you were running those tugboats?
uh, I was 16,
Up the
15,
Miami River.
15.
Up the Miami River with barges loaded with sand.
Anyway, he also had bulldozers, front end loaders, and clamshell cranes. And I started standing with him after I got in and learned how to do it. Unfortunately, Art Darachet caught me doing it, and from then on, when I got into the end of the dock, I got off the tugboat onto the crane. I had to unload the damn barges that I just built up.
They just drove after you got up at 5 a.m.
Hard work.
Yeah.
It's a glass of wine for
No, here's to you. I toast to you.
Okay.
To a successful life, that I know. We've been friends for 45 years, maybe more than that.
I think more. I really do.
Yeah.
But back then in Miami, you could do things like this.
Uh-huh.
You grew up there. You know what you could do.
I know. How old are you?
I'm 86 right now.
Wow. Great life, man. How did you get into fishing?
I went to school with a guy named Pflueger Jr.
Okay. That's the son of the
of Val Pflueger.
Pflueger who started Pflueger Taxidermy.
Which became the largest marine taxidermist in the world.
You did I remember once reading over 1 million mounts.
Yeah.
Skin mounts.
Yeah. I went to work for Al Pflueger. I went fishing with him all this time. We'd go out at night before Al would go home and go to bed, and I'd go home and go to work.
Yeah, right, at 5 a.m.
That's hard work.
Right.
And Al Pflueger Sr. died.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stories about when or where or whatever, but anyway, he died. Albert hired me to come to work and help me. And I said, yeah, we've been fishing, you know.
Right, but Albert liked fishing. He didn't want to run Pfluegers, did he?
Let me finish.
Yeah, do it.
I went to work. Albert hired me. I went to work, went up to the little old office building, you know where it was, the old 59th Street.
Right.
And when I went to work, Joe says, who are you? I said, Albert hired me to come help him in the shop. Didn't say anything to me about it. I said, well, what am I going to do? I've already quit my job. And she said, no, you stay here. But I want you to know, Albert and I are going to have a talk. Well, Albert never showed up. He went fishing.
Yeah. One of the greatest light tackle anglers of all time.
I learned a lot about fishing. That started me when we were fishing together.
Amazing. I remember walking into your factory, into your plant. It's an amazing place. I was young, walking in there, and you and I were not even friends yet. You know, I was mounting fish or whatever, and I came up there and went in, and I could not believe this is when you're still doing skin mounts. How many fish that have been skinned and then tanned, you know, however you cure them, the heads, the bills hanging on every rafter up in the place. Unbelievable. And you had painters there with the airbrushes that were, what artists?
They were the best.
The best.
Old man Pflueger was a genius. He was also a very, very good fisherman.
Well, my father and him used to go deep dropping with a Kip electric reel, and they caught the first red pomfret that was,
Yeah.
you know, he loved to experiment around in deep water, deep dropping. He built you remember the A-frame that he built
Mm-hmm.
for dropping out there?
Well, Tommy Gifford and he were very, very good friends. And Tommy Gifford is I don't know what he's a legend in innovating
Fisheries. He tackled the tackle and the techniques.
He innovated the outrigger.
Right.
Right. He invented
Towers.
towers, kites.
Yeah, I know Bob's, but Tommy was working on them kites.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyway, I got to learn fishing from the best of the people, best people. Every time I went out fishing, I don't care who I was going out with, they were all professionals. I'm going to learn something today. I'm going to learn something. That's my goal. Learn something from these people because they're the best in the business.
So you fished all over the world, taking what you learn every place you go and putting it together. In my mind, I think you're probably one of the most knowledgeable anglers and captains, even though you don't run boats that way. But if anyone asks you, where should I go? You can tell them and how to do it.
Wait a minute. I had a 100-ton license.
Yeah,
I could
that's
here.
right. That's not what I'm saying. You didn't run for private people.
No,
That wasn't your business.
no, it was not.
But you're probably better than 99.9% of the captains in the business.
I would hate to say that, but
I'll say it.
I'm as good as.
I'll say it. I'll
That's
say
it.
it.
So that's how I got started at Pflueger's.